So, why am I here? Why am I doing this project? I'm doing this project because I watched something recently that said that Mother's Day is the second most celebrated holiday after Christmas. Father's Day is the 20th. And so that has a lot to do with the fact that a lot of people do not necessarily respect their fathers or love their fathers, or fathers just don't get the same love that mothers do. And the narrative would like to tell you that um, fathers aren't active in the homes when I know that they are, because I have friends, I have people in my life that are my brothers, my friends. My father was very active. Um, so this is for them. This is for everybody that feels like they don't get the love that they deserve on Father's Day. It's Father time.
My name is Rich Dotson, also known as The Cipher. I'm a photographer and a poet. I lost my father on June 2nd, 2010, after a long battle with diabetes. It wasn't all sunshine and rainbows, let's say it like that. It wasn't like he was physically abusive or anything like that, but it was like your strict father growing up in the 80s and 90s. When it comes to being a black man, and he was there to make sure that I had them all. So it wasn't always smooth, but it wasn't always rough. It was kind of like that healthy mixture. Smooth-ish when it needed to be smooth, and then mostly that tough love, because you need to have some of that in the world, because if you don't, that's when shit kind of hits the fan. So I mean, it was a mixture.
My name is Sean Joseph. I'm an urban farmer, or just farmer all in general. Farm on multiple different locations, from Waterbury all the way down to Bridgeport. My relationship with my father is it's not as strong as I would like it to be, but he's kind of non-communicative. He's not much of a talker himself, so it is what it is at this point.
My name is Benny Farr IV, artistically known as Silent Quill. I'm a spoken word poet, creative writer, MC, by night or by life. And by day, I work in homeless outreach. My relationship with my father is non-existent. I was raised by my grandparents. My mother was in the military, and she was stationed in Germany for most of my childhood. And my father was a Rolling Stone, if you will.
Okay. My name is Kevin, also go by the name of Domino, and I'm an entertainer. My relationship like with my father, there is none. Pretty much, first time I remember meeting him, I was about 4 years old. He used to come by the house and such. I think him and my mom was trying to get it together. He would be in and out. He would come by every now and then. Then I kind of remember not seeing him for a while, then popping back up. Popped back up when I was about 11, 12. So my sister came about. I think him and my mom was trying to get it back together. Not too many fond memories of him. We went fishing a couple times. That's his thing. He liked to go fishing. Yeah, not really the best relationship with him. Can't recall any good things. Maybe he taught me how to fish. That was it.
My name is Shamat Little. Go by the name of Influence. I live in Connecticut. What do you do? I'm a poet, entrepreneur, motivational speaker, community activist, most of all, father. My biological father left me, my earliest memory of him is leaving me when I was about 3. I remember him putting all his stuff into a black trash bag and walking out of our apartment in the project. I remember my mom, every time I would ask my mom to contact him because I wanted to see him, she did. And I may have seen him. The worst memory I have of him is that I talked to him on the phone. He promised me to see me on Christmas. His mother lived around the corner from my aunt. And he said he was gonna come pick me up, so I sat on the front porch of my aunt's house. Literally, it was like 2 minutes away. And he never came. And I just sat there waiting for him. My father was a drug dealer who turned into a drug addict. I really never had a relationship with him. The only thing he's ever done for me literally in my life, my mother asked him for money one time, and he told her, don't ask me for nothing type thing, to be real short. So the only time I ever got anything from my father is when I got married when I was 21. He came to me, I invited him to my wedding because I wanted a relationship. I invited him to my wedding. About 3 weeks before my wedding, he comes to me with an envelope full of cash and said, I can't make it to your wedding. I got some business to handle in Virginia. And I told him then, I said, I never wanted your money, I only wanted you. My mother didn't raise no fool, I took that damn envelope. But we really didn't have a relationship. Over the years, my cousins and them from that side of the family will call me, and he has heart issues. I've took care of his medical stuff overnight, working for the hospital, looking over his charts, making sure everything was good. He still to this day doesn't know it. I don't have a relationship with him. I can call him, he doesn't call me. My dad, the man who entered my life when I was 12, I owe him everything for being the man that I am. He was the first man that ever told me, I don't want to take you away from my father. You don't understand the pressures that man had of being a father, so you can't judge him. He said, but I just want a relationship with you. And we had our bumps and knocks, but he taught me, as he said, just stand on my square. He taught me what it is to be a man, to be a humanitarian, to want to help people, what it is to sacrifice yourself for your family, for your community. It was him. Like, nothing that he wasn't perfect. He made his mistakes, but as far as being there, I learned what being a father was.
My name is Rashawn Prince Latif Belcher. I'm a photographer, a poet, a creative. I am a son. I am a father. My relationship with my father was a roller coaster. My father was like a superhero to me when I was young. He was very active, very militant. He was a Black Panther, so therefore he was very Afrocentric and taught me to be the same way. But there was a turning point in my life when I was around 7 years old, where my father lost his son, my brother, Yusef Jamal Belcher. At which point things completely changed. My father turned into a different person right before our eyes. He battled addiction. And the man that I knew as my father was gone. He then became someone different. Later on down the line, he gave his life to God. He changed his life around. But me being who I was, I I resented him and didn't forgive him the way that God did. And later on down the line, we repaired our relationship, but there's times where I feel like it happened way too late.
My name is Musa. I'm a comedian, also a poet, and full-time father. My relationship, like, as I can remember when I was younger, it was cool. It was like, he would come, like, we would play video games sometimes, but then, like, as I got older, like, it was like more non-existent, like when I started to grow up. So it was kind of like, it was kind of weird because, he went out. I felt weird because he went out and got another family, and then, I seen my brother and then him and his other wife, but then, like, he wanted to see me, but then it was just like, if you really wanted to see me, he would see me. So, like, throughout my teenage years, it was kind of like more resent than like love when it was younger. So, yeah, it was kind of tough.
So the title of this poem is called If Heaven Had a Phone. If heaven had a phone, I'd call you every day. I would talk to you when I had nothing of great importance to say. I'd call you just to hear your voice. I wouldn't even interrupt you, and that's my choice. I'd FaceTime you just so that I can see you. Just sitting there watching you command a room with respect, as only you can do. I text you frequently just so we could chat. A few words that I will need in advice to help guide me when I don't know where my head is at. The hardest part was when your service ended and your phone was disconnected. I thought it was faulty equipment, so I had it inspected. The big man in the store said, "Your phone's not broken. I called your loved one home." Shocked at the news, heavily my thoughts began to roam. How can I have this modern technology, but I can't pick up and paste this call? No matter how I try to wrap my head around it, I can't understand this at all. Unlimited data and minutes don't mean shit if we can never again speak. At this very moment, I can feel a tear flowing down my cheek. The biggest hurt I've ever felt was watching you slowly die. I still need advice in life, so I look for you in the sky. I need your words of wisdom when my soul gets nervous. Reality hit hard when I call you and hear the number you were trying to reach is no longer in service. Still hard to believe that you've been gone for a little more than 10. Cherish those you love because you'll never know when the phone conversation will end. Poem. Losing him affected me because even though I'm 45, going on 46, I still feel like there are things that I know, but I don't know on a level that he did. So it's like when I need that like fatherly advice, I don't have that fatherly figure 100% to turn to because he's not around. So it's like I'm left sometimes almost like second guessing myself, knowing the answer, but it's like I need that almost like a confirmation of like, okay, I'm stuck here. Help me out. What am I missing to get to this last point? And then him not being here. Certain events I won't speak on 100%, but I do think certain events that happened in my life post his death wouldn't have even went down. None of them would have even happened. Let's say it like that. Not sound cliche. If you know, you know. He was still here. There's certain things if it happened, it might have happened, just probably not to the magnitude that they happened.
It was traumatic. Me being a poet, an orator, motivational speaker, now at 47. I never thought I would reach here because for the first 5 or 6 years of my life, I had to take speech therapy because of the trauma that happened from him leaving. I didn't talk, and I stuttered. I still stutter. There were points that he came back and forth into my life, but it was only for macho stuff. Like, he taught me how to fight a little bit, martial arts, mixed martial arts, but that was only because he had a studio and he needed kids in the studio. But it was hard for on me not to have, like I said, I didn't speak for a long time. So being who I am today is a breakthrough. Testament to my mother's dedication, making sure her son would be okay, and putting me in speech therapy, things like that.
Didn't affect me any because I had uncles. I had my grandfather. I had a father figure to look up to, so I had examples, you know. I didn't have him around, so I had my uncles. I never had a lot of brothers, but I had a lot of cousins. You know, I saw my uncles and their wives, you know, how they act, you know, in between teaching their sons and their daughters, they would give me like little jewels. I would watch stuff that they're doing and, you know, just pick up things here and there, you know, mostly get my stuff, you know, outside of the house or, you know, being in the street or whatever, learning stuff from my friends or learning stuff on my own, which isn't always the right thing to do, so I'm still trying to unlearn a lot of that stuff. But yeah, it didn't really affect me none because you can't miss what you didn't have type of thing. So recently, you know, maybe like 2022, you know, I had a conversation with my dad, like briefly, because, you know, COVID was going around crazy and he's older. So, you know, just before my dad, you know, if he happened to check out, I would feel bad if I never got to talk to him. I really got like the story of him or him and my mom or whatever the case may be. So I hit him up and I text him, I was like, yo, I don't need no money, ain't nobody sick, I'm fine, I just want to talk to you. And, you know, he hit me back. He was like, yeah, we gonna get together, woo-wop, whatever. He called me like 2 weeks later, and he left a message. He was like, you know, we gonna get together, you know, we gonna chop it up, grab a beer, whatever. I ain't forget about you. I ain't heard from that nigga since. So, with that, you know, me being grown now, you know, it wasn't no crying, it wasn't no Will Smith moment, like, why you don't love me? It wasn't none of that. It's just like, you know, I wipe my hands of it. I take it for what it is, and, you know, I just deal with it that way. You know, if it's to the point where it's out of my hands, you chose. So if after all these years, you know, it wasn't like my mom was keeping me from him or vice versa. You know, like the teenage years, I didn't really have a good grasp on. I wasn't mature enough to actually, like, you know, ask why my father ain't there or hit him up or whatever the case may be. But now that I'm grown, I hit him up, put the ball in his court. He decided what he decided. Cool. And I got my answer. I'm cool with having my answer now because, you know, when I was younger, I used to I used to kind of be envious of my friends and their dads. Like, that shit look cool. Like, having somebody to go to or just somebody to kick it with. Like, I would see my uncle and my male cousin, like, that shit look dope. I wish I had that. And my grandfather was too old to be, like, you know, running around with me or playing basketball or whatever the case. But, you know, with my daughters, hopefully we can, you know, we can do the stuff that I want to do with my dad. So, you know, I don't have to wait to have sons to do certain things. So that's about it. I'll see you at your funeral. That's about it.
Losing my father, it hurt. You know, like I said, I feel like I tried to repair things with him too close to the end. But you never know it's going to be the end, right? It just happened that way. And that's not to say he didn't do his best to try to be there for me, because he did. He was always there for me. He just had his flaws that, unfortunately, I had punished him for. Like I said, to this day, that is one of my biggest regrets.
It's tough, right? So my son's mom and I had we were pregnant with twins back in '06. They'd be 17 now. And with losing children, you don't get over it. You know what I mean? Like you learn how to carry it and move forward. So the way it affects me, I carry it by celebrating their existence. I celebrate their birthdays every year. I acknowledge and just appreciate the very little time that they had with us. So like I said, you don't get over it, but you kind of just you move forward and continue to be the best father that I can be for my son now. Yeah, my son is 14 now, right? And that's my homie. Like that's my dude,
Losing my son, on the other hand, is a different story. I never told much of my family this, but I've actually lost 2 children. Back in 2012, a friend of mine had told me that I had gotten her pregnant the day after my birthday. And, we had some disagreements. And weeks later, my father had passed away. The morning after the funeral, I received a text that said I took care of it, meaning that she had aborted the baby. That was something that hurt me even deeper, and again, it was something that I never told my family. I just kept it quiet. It would be 2 years later that my best friend at the time and I would decide to be more than friends. And on New Year's Eve, we looked at each other in the eyes and decided to try for a baby that year. And we did. And a month later, she was pregnant. Things were going great. I was so happy to be a dad. I was showing the ultrasound to anybody that would watch or listen. And September 2014, I got a call while I was at work saying that she was in labor. She wasn't due until January. That was the scariest ride to the hospital that I had ever had since going to see my father. The cool part about it is after her giving labor, while she was pregnant, I spoke to her belly all the time because I had read that children can recognize your voice. And so when he was in the incubator, I don't know the right word, I had said his name and he had opened his eyes to look for who was speaking. I had put my finger inside the machine and he grabbed my finger. And in that moment, I had gotten a moment to bond with my son, and that is something that I will never forget.
Forget that question. I still haven't gotten over it yet. He was the only one I had that I could depend on. I don't have anybody else. Everybody else depends on me. When I needed something, I would call him, and he would, from his chair that he sat at my mother's house, he would give me everything I need, from lessons to money if I needed it, whatever it was. It's still very, very hard. I went and brought a bottle of his cologne that he wore. So on my special days, special events, I wear that cologne, and I try to use it sparingly because I don't forget him, because they discontinued Obsession Dark. They discontinued it, so I use it sparingly. I can't find it anymore, but I still haven't gotten over it. It's going on 8 years. It was everything to me.
So this poem is called Sunshine. I am the light between my shadow and my reflection. I've always viewed my shadow as the worst part of me. I didn't invest much energy into mirrors, but at least I had an idea of what I looked like. Shadows go unseen without a light to expose it. Since he endured the fun parts of giving me life, and has been nothing more to me than a shadow in the night ever since, it's only right that his sun rises to bring the situation to light, and honestly, it's all shade. I bathe in moonbeams for the comfort of the night, only to find my shadow lurking at my feet. I guess that's why I chose to live in darkness. See, a benefit to being blind is you can't see the hurt coming, but the drawback is you can't brace for impact. I tried so hard to disguise the parts of this darkness that exist in me, I sacrificed my glow. Paying ill attention to the parts that shine, I turned a blind eye to the light I have inside. See, nightmares of the demons that crept in the dark filled my dream catcher, so I added insomnia to my list of talents. And when you question my lack of sleep, I'll tell you I'll sleep when I'm dead, as if life's hustles don't grant me the time. Because maybe you can't handle the truth, or I just can't handle sharing it. How easy would it be for you to count sheep with monsters chasing them? I'm the suffer in silence type. More times than not, I keep smiling with my mask on as I move about existence to keep people from questioning my well-being. But some nights, I wake to the voice of my heart spilling from my mouth, while the heat from my agonies melt away my soul, flowing from my eyes like magma oozing down the side of a volcano. He must have seen me as a demon trying to possess his life, which would add rhyme to the reason why he ran. It seems as if the best way he saw fit to exercise me was cardio. Shadows move just as fast as the light chasing it, so the idea of pursuit was easily discouraged. Besides, the fuck I look like. If you don't want to be here, then don't be. Imagine sitting under your family tree, guarded by its shade, free to pick and be nourished from all but your father's branch. I never truly invested much thought into this until the day I extended my own branch. How selfish was I to think of my lacks during the greatest of my gains, even if it was just for a moment. Then it hit me like a ton of joy. I made a person, and all I could do was smile. I wouldn't even hold him standing up, in fear of my little person slipping between my fingers, like myself and so many others who slip between the fingers of their fathers, or even worse, put down, never to be picked up again. Then pops up with even less of a backbone once you're grown and too heavy to be held. Believe me, you are never too grown to want to be held by your dad. What good was giving me your name if your effort, time, and attention didn't accompany it? What was so important out there? It's said that sons pay for the sins of their fathers. So I'm doing my best to settle your debts so I don't hand them off to your grandson. I'm trying to break these generational curses. I may have broken the name chain, but it's still your blood that runs through his veins. No, I can't deny that genetics is a bitch. I work my hands to the bone. My hardships and missteps aren't his burdens to bear. I promise you, he will create plenty of his own. April 15, 2009, I was granted a great power. And with great power came great responsibility. That day and forever after, I earned the title daddy. Because I know any man can easily become a father. Shit, that's just the fun part. But it's only where the fun starts. The only moments he will miss me is when I'm out earning for his well-being or making myself a better man for him to look up to. His joys are mine. His hurts are mine. I teach him, I help him, I protect him. From now until forever, he is my superpower. And with him, I will do great things. Isn't that something, Pop? An eclipse of your life. Your secret son can teach you how to be the father you never been. Not discouraged, but inspired by actions you never took. I suffered storms that would timber most, but I stand. Tall enough for those who are also healing, bearing fruit for those who care enough to be inspired. You made a mistress of my reflection and guarded your eyes from the light that came of it. They say it isn't safe to look directly into the sun. Maybe my shine was too bright for you. Our genetics are strong, but this is where you and I differ, because I'll go blind before I ever turn my back on mine. Peace. The absence of my father, I feel like has been a drive to be a better person, be a better father, and make all the choices that that he didn't make, you know, and to be different. I don't want my son to grow up asking the same questions that I have, or wondering, you know, about me or, you know, my side of his family. He's always gonna know where to find me. He's always gonna know how to reach me, and he's never gonna wonder. And like I did, you know, as much as I can, you know, think that I don't necessarily care about my father's absence, because I had my grandparents. I had my grandfather, I had my uncles, I had my older brother, but you know, they all did his job, you know what I mean? And you can't fill that space, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's like, dad is a position like that you hold in the family tree, and you had other people doing your work, other people doing your job, you know what I mean? And to me, that's just unacceptable. So as much as I can say, you know, that his absence, you know, doesn't really affect me, it does, you know. He was supposed to be there. I mean, do I hate him? No. His hate takes energy, and I actually have to care enough to hate somebody, you know what I mean? So it's just unfortunate for him, you know, because I'm awesome, and his grandson is awesome, and he's missing out on that. But just his absence and the things that he didn't do motivates me and encourages me, and gives me that drive to be a better father, to be a good father, to be a good person in general.
I try to be as more involved with my children, try to have more conversations with them outside of just whenever they need to be disciplined for one reason or another, and to try to do and show different things that I do and I've experienced in life, as well as help them with whatever interest they have at the time.
It makes me go hard to like really be there for like Khalil, my son. Like he like just being there and just being like showing that foundation of like, all right, you know, you got your mother who's feminine, nurturing, and doing all the stuff she needs to do, but like I'll come through masculine, like, and just showing him stuff, like show him, like, cause like when he gets older, it's gonna be mostly on me to show him how to be a man. So like, just gotta be there now, just like really be that authoritative, like, cause he's smart, so he knows he can get away with stuff with women because he's got a cute face, But with me, like I still give him that love and affection, but I be having to bring the hammer down on him to let him know, like, hey, you can't do this. Like you have to be disciplined. So like it really makes me go hard and be like a better father.
I just want to be everything he wasn't. Being that I have two girls right now, I'm just trying to be in their lives as much as possible. Me and the mother aren't together, and just to be a presence. Just to be active, just be present. Give them, just little jewels here and there. Give them something from a man perspective. Just giving them, things that their mother can't always give them. Just being present, basically. Just being there matters a lot. I'm recognizing.
How does that influence how I am as a father? I'm not quite sure yet. I'm in a relationship, rather, I am currently in a relationship in which I have an opportunity to be a stepfather to four amazing children. Four children that deserve a great dad in their lives, which is exactly what I'm trying to be. But not to sugarcoat it, there was also a time frame in which things weren't good between my girlfriend and I had completely lost any access to the children. And that was an eye opener because it just was a reminder of how quickly things can be taken away from me again. And it brought all those feelings back. All those feelings of losing family, losing children. And I went even deeper into depression. The plus side is we're back in good terms, and I'm still trying to develop relationships with these children and be the person that they need, be the father figure I've always wanted to be, and I'm trying to be exactly that.
The greatest thing my biological father ever did for me was be who he actually was, because he taught me who not to be. So the lessons that he gave me were make sure I never put my hands on a woman, because he beat my mother. To make sure I'm always there for my family, because he never was. The lessons that I got from my dad were the same lessons, but they were lessons by action. They weren't lessons by trauma. So he taught me how you're supposed to love your children, how you're supposed to care for your children, how you're supposed to have the balance between being a father and being a friend. He taught me all of those important things, those small things that people don't think about, being there for the milestone moments, and even being hard on me. I didn't become a nurse until my late 30s. And my father stayed pissed at me from the time, my dad stayed pissed at me from the time I left high school until I graduated from nursing school, because he knew I could be better. And the happiest day of his life was when he graduated nursing school. Because he would throw shots at me. Like, he would tell me, we would be working with him at Popeyes, he would be like, I would tell him about hard times I was having. He would be like, your behind wouldn't have all these hard times if you took your ass to school when you're supposed to. Like, he would just hit me with like one line. But in the end, before he passed away, he seen me graduate. The name of this poem is Braiding Hair. It's about my relationship with my daughters. Brothers, when you have a daughter, braiding hair isn't just braiding hair. It's a process. Wash. Keep her thoughts clean to help break up the danger for the world. Condition. To recondition her roots so she realizes she's not a black, broken, brittle piece of herself. Blow dry. Medium to low heat. Protect the history of her roots. Seal in your lessons. You see, this It's a process because these lion relaxers will rip up from her culture like native tongues are ripped from her mouth. You see, when men have daughters, we hear, you're going to reap what you sow. I mean, what goes around comes around. So I part their hair straight to continue the path of angels sleeping in their nappy-headed roots. Because equality can't be boxed in a box braid. So I grease up with black gospel verses, putting the Holy Ghost in my combs. Because ethnic roots are blessed with trials and tribulations. Like when white counselors told my daughter that she can only choose in community colleges. The universities show her the money with full-fledged educational scholarships. Braiding hair isn't just braiding hair. Style it with a spiritual connection, a beautiful three-strand trinity. Father, daughter, holy bond. Blessed be the shotgun for the prom dates. This ain't just braiding hair. So I braid underhanded to hide my fears of black girl magic. Because black girls are vanishing just like black boys. They go missing like barrettes. When a Tamir Rice gets shot, everyone forgets about Rakia Boyd, Ayanna Jones, Sandra Bland. These women have fathers like me that will go into Walmart to grab period pillows, rags, sanitary napkins, tampons, and dare somebody to say something. They can catch these shea buttered anointed hands. See, this is more than just braids and ponytails. These are open conversations like, Daddy, why can't I date him? Didn't you sell drugs? Like, Daddy, I think she wants to take me to the dance. This is more than just braiding hair. This is therapy. This is baby. I put the drugs away a long time ago because you're the only potent substance I wanted to handle. It's baby. You can choose whoever you want. Just remember that daddy loves you. Because baby girl, your path won't be easy. You can't be tender-headed. You got to be able to handle any style. Because this world will twist, lock you up, ban you into knots because they dread your existence. This is not about braiding your hair. It's about quality time, ending daddy issues, being your shoulder, but you not needing it. Unapologetically independent and showing unconditional love when this world gives you conditions. So even when my hands cramp, I will wash, dry, part, grease, twist, and braid my life around yours. Because it's always been about loving you and never been about braiding your hair. Peace, y'all. Influence.
To you? Absolutely nothing. Father's Day means nothing because it means nothing to nobody else. Every time I have a significant other, they might have bought me a gift. Usually I started using it as a teachable moment as of late. Because one tradition I have, I started with my oldest daughter. She was about maybe 5 or 6. We go get manicures and pedicures, right? And in between getting the manicures and pedicures, we drive into the salon or whatever, and my daughter's like, Daddy, it'd be funny if you paint your feet. I'm like, all right, I don't care. It's for my daughter, it's for my baby. She gonna look back on it and laugh or whatever. But we get to the salon and she's like thinking about it again. She's like, she don't want her dad, because men don't normally paint their feet. Mm-hmm. So she like, Daddy, I ain't gonna have you out here like this type of thing. I'm like, no, go over there, pick a color, and we gonna paint my feet. 1, I can take a joke, I find it funny. 2, I'm teaching her like to be comfortable with yourself. Mm-hmm. Like, it's June, it's hot outside, it's pool weather, it's beach weather, it's flip-flop weather, these toes gonna be out. So if somebody see them and they got a question, either I explain it, or you see it from afar and you think something about it, you ain't gonna come to me and say nothing. So right now my feet are yellow and blue. So, I'm just teaching my daughter to be comfortable, just be comfortable in your skin. Like, it doesn't mean I'm soft, I'm not masculine, I'm homophobic. It doesn't mean anything. It's just be comfortable with yourself. I'm comfortable enough to have my feet all different colors for you.
Father's Day means to me, honestly, I don't care. I appreciate it. It's, recognition for stuff that we're supposed to do. It's, I appreciate, the celebration, a selected day to say, hey, dads, we appreciate you. But it's every day. I'm a father every day. I'm a dad every day. And fathers and dads, it's every day. So the actual chosen holiday, if you will, it doesn't really mean too much. I appreciate it.
Traditionally, to me, Father's Day is just another excuse for people to go spend money at these commercial stores. Internally, for me, Father's Day is just a day to kind of reflect on the same question that you just asked. What the
That's
relationship is
basically
like
what
with
I've
my
been
father,
doing
how
for
my
years.
relationship is with my children, and anything within my power that I can do to try to make it as best as what I would like to see it be.
Are we talking about just the third Sunday of every month, of every June? Or are we talking about every day? Because if we're talking about just the third Sunday in June, I'm not going to sound like an asshole out there, but Father's Day is every day. Does it affect me more on Father's Day? The question side of the question, yeah, it does. Because I see everybody, when I go on social media, I see people with their tributes to their father, happy Father's Day, Dad, So that kind of puts me in my feels. But then as I sit out here and I'm watching a father walk by with his daughter, and that alone messes me up because it's like they have their father, and it's like I miss the hell out of my father, and it's like even if it was him just pitching a bitch at me about something that didn't need to have a bitch pitched about, I'll take that. I'll take 2 seconds of him just being unhappy about something, because it's like, you have some people who have their father and they don't appreciate their father. Well, if their father, let me clarify, if their fathers are around, or father figures are still around and can actively be in their life, it bothers me when you have kids who grow up without their father, taking the toxic mother out of it for a minute, but growing up without their father, and they could be in their kid's life and the father chooses not. When you have people such as myself who, I just told you, I want to be a father. Well, I'm a father, but in a non-traditional sense because of my niece's father figure. But when there are people who strive to be parents, and then you have guys that just actively choose not to be in their kid's life, that affects me to the point I'm like, yo, you're an asshole. Because you could be in your kid's life and you choose not to be, for what? So every day affects me. Father's Day hits me hard, but every day affects me. But like I said, when I see fathers walk by with their sons, their daughters, or even if it's a guy who's being a bonus dad because the original father may have transitioned on, or might be locked up, or might not be around. It bothers me because of what I have strived for myself and wanting to be a father. So it hurts in like different levels that I can't even put your finger on it.
Father's Day means it's a day in where, like, even though, like, people feel like because like they're so used to us being there, so used to being a provider, that it's like an appreciation day. Even though I don't get the same like love as Mother's Day, it's still like it's still a day to be celebrated, because as we've been seeing going on, like, your loved ones may not be there, so you should never take it for granted. This should be a day that shouldn't be taken for granted, because you never know. So it's just like you should get the same energy as you will for Mother's Day, not because like you want like you want to be sassy or nothing like that, but it's just like, we fathers work hard, like we provide, like we don't try to, like, a lot of times we go through stuff, we just try to mask it, and then like a lot of stuff get put on the shoulders, but we don't complain. It's just, nice appreciation day. That's all.
As I told my kids the other day, I don't understand people who, like, I'm not saying they're wrong. Excuse me. I don't understand people who say, "Oh, it's Father's Day or it's Mother's Day and I want to go here or there. I don't want to be bothered with my kids, this, that, and the third." To me, that's the one day that I don't want nobody to bother me. I just want to be with my kids, man. Like, I don't want to be a poet. I don't want to be an activist for nobody. I don't want to help nobody get out of jail. I don't want to feed nobody. I don't want to do nothing. I just want to rock with my kids, man. Like, Father's Day to me is a day that I get to actually sit back and enjoy the fact of being a father. There's no struggle. There's no worries. My kids are with me. They're safe. I don't have to worry about anything. It's just being a father. Like, you ain't got to buy me nothing. I don't need nothing from you. Both my kids work, got good jobs. I don't need nothing from you. I just want you being with me. That's it. Father's Day means to me sitting back and looking at your children and enjoying the work that you put in over the years to make them the people who they are today. That's Father's Day.
What does Father's Day mean to me? I'm gonna be honest. I hate this holiday. I hate this holiday because it's a constant reminder of everything that I've lost. A constant reminder of losing my father. A reminder of losing my children. A reminder that what God giveth, He can taketh away. And I find it hard not to be jealous when I see people with their children. Or be angry when I see fathers that don't want to be active in their kids' lives. And I try to avoid Father's Day altogether. This piece is called Debt to Sobriety. The story starts when I was 7, baby at 10, but I had my own slice of heaven. Only problem was when Ninja Turtles needed weapons. Pay attention, all that's about to change up in a second. Typical Friday night, moms and pops tired. Just another weekend on the East End. Nobody flinched when they heard shots fired. Less than an hour later, police knocked on my door. Not allowing them to finish their statement, my father pushed past them, ran out in his drawers. I was too young to realize they came by for my brother's body to be identified. 1990, July 29th. First time I saw a grown man cry. It's the first memory I have of my childhood. After that, everything else is a haze. Yusef Jamal Belcher, left for dead in the street, 17 years of age. You live by the street, you die by the street. There's nothing anyone could have done. But soon after, my father returned to drugs to cope with the pain of losing a son. Now, remember, I was a child when Jamal's life was took, far too young to realize that my father was strung out on the same substance that my brother pushed. Fast forward a few years when I'm in my adolescence. All my mothers have moved, excuse me, all my brothers have moved out now, and I'm the man of the house, disgusted by his presence. A man that once taught me the 10-step program left to take 12 of his own. Imagine my surprise when I put on a pair of his pants and reached in the pocket to find a pocket full of stones. This must have been a sobering moment because after that he gave his life to God to see brighter days. But he promised me he was done once before, so now I'm looking at him sideways. He finally turned his life around and was committed to keeping it right. Cancer crept in to take his life, like a thief in the night. You once told me the day God feels that you can't handle what he gives you is the day he doesn't wake you. Labor Day weekend 2012 was when he decided to take you. Sometimes I wonder why you ain't standing here beside me. I guess you paid your debt to sobriety. Now picture a teenage boy fluent in street talk and passive aggression. Only 18 years of age, turning to liquor to battle his depression. I opened up to my boys just trying to get them to understand. They said, stop being a pussy and get you some pussy. It's time to grow up, nigga. Be a man. 18 years old, I grew a dependency to liquor and casual sexing, somehow thinking I was better than my father because I had different vices to cope with my depression. From the bottom of a bottle to the bottom of a box, I'm in a perpetual state of hate, and the cycle doesn't stop. So one night I realized there's no amount of liquor to quiet the voices that I'm hearing. I lost all control of my actions, and the next morning I woke up to realize why they call them spirits. I just want it all to end, and there's only one way out. My roommate walked in just in time to snatch that bottle of bleach from my mouth. So don't call me Rashawn no more. Call me Latif. Rashawn died on that night that I tried to drink that bleach. Something's got to give because I ain't doing well. I quit my job, hit the reset button, moved down to ATL. By 2014, I moved back and had a child with my best friend, born 3 months early. Didn't make it through the night. Yale Hospital's where we left him. So, Dad, I wrote this piece to say I'm sorry I grew to resent you because God made me hold my son while he took his last breath just to understand what you went through. As if burying my child wasn't enough, This is where it hurts. One long look in the mirror made me realize I'm repeating your cycle, but in reverse. A carousel of bad decisions that went around and around like karma. Some people are products of their environment. I'm a product of my trauma. And you wonder why I show you this side of me? I guess it's just my debt to sobriety. Peace.
Crazy. They want all this from us. And like, oh, you talking about, oh, I just need you to change a diaper. I ain't never changed a diaper a day in my life. Like now you want me to start changing diaper now. I don't be doing that shit. Like I tell him, I said, listen, son, you gonna wear that same diaper until you learn how to change it. Like you an adult now. Like you and me. Like we be in the kitchen. I let him get his. I be letting him get his own food. Like she be like, did I cook for him? Did he cook for him? He's an adult now. Shit. Talking about something, yo. I like so my mom talking about something. Oh, you gotta pump the gas. I'm like, he gotta pump the gas. He gotta do that. He an adult now. Talking about like, you wasn't that young when he pumped the gas. Like so, times have changed. It's the 50s again. Inflation. I seen the little Chinese kid. I went there to get some food. He was like, when I went there to order my food, he took the order. When I came back, he was on break. I'm like, if he could get a job, my son could get a job.
Never forget what it was like when you were growing up as a child, how your father and or mother dealt with you, and how you would have liked for them to treat you, because as much as you that you see in your kids, they're going through those same emotions and thoughts as you were. So treat them accordingly and try to guide them a little bit better than you felt you needed to be guided. And also don't ever forget the age that they actually are. So if you are lucky to be with them on a day-to-day basis, you tend to forget how young they may actually be. So give them a little leeway. So when you are parenting from your personal experience, just understand that you are a grown adult giving advice to a child that still is a child. So don't expect your 14-year-old to pick up on any game that you give them that you wish you would have had at 14 and take it and run with it. It's still going to take them time for all of that to sink in. So, and also just know whatever lessons you are imparting on them, they may not act on it now, but they will in the future. So never think something is not worth saying or doing or putting an effort for. That's all I would have to say.